Okay, I'd like to make a start. So Sandra's ringing the bell. With 1 more minute and then we'll make a start. So we have 3 update presentations in this session before we finish the plenary for MENOG. First up, we have Bahar Esmat, then we have Christian Tarschow, then we have Marco Schmidt. So I think without further ado, I'd like to invite Bahar on the stage to talk about ICANN's Middle East engagement strategy.
Thank you. Okay, it's me again. I'm going to be quick this time, hopefully. So I'm going to just give you a brief update on the ICANN engagement strategy for the Middle East. So like a year and a half ago, ICANN started to work more closely with stakeholders in the region to develop regional strategies, strategies that still go in line with the global ICANN strategy, but at the same time, they're also tailored to address the needs of the region. So like less than a year ago, maybe 10 months ago, a few people from the Middle East, they came together in one of the meetings and told me, look, I mean, we need to see ICANN more focusing on, the region and all this. So let's talk about it. We had a couple of meetings with different stakeholders, and we decided to form a working group from the stakeholders from the region to look into this strategy. So this was a community-driven effort. We had a working group I think it was 22 members coming from 11 countries, and they started working on this beginning of this year, January 2013. They worked for 6 months, and they developed a 3-year strategy and a 1-year action or implementation plan, and they're going to work on implementing the strategy year after year. The methodology was very, very simple. Like in any strategy, you start by general discussion on needs and priorities and all this, and then you come up with a list of strategic goals, what the goals are. And the group identified 3 main goals for ICANN in the region. One is to foster a 2-way relationship or engagement between ICANN and the region. So the strategy is not only about, getting stakeholders from the Middle East to come to ICANN and participate in ICANN work. It's also about getting ICANN to go and work more closely with the region and work more closely with the stakeholders in the region, develop projects and initiatives that, serve the demands and needs in the region. The second thing was about the domain name industry, and we touched upon this, partially in the last session when we talked about IDNs and supply and demand in the IDN space and all this. So still, if you look at the domain name industry at large, this is another key area where the region or stakeholders in the region, they felt that there's still a lot of more work needs to be done. So that was the second one. Third one was to promote what we call the multi-stakeholder internet governance model. Again, without getting into details, and this might not be of real interest to the technical people, but usually people who are involved in internet governance issues and who are part of what we call the global internet governance debate and all this, we believe that the internet is governed through multi-stakeholder mechanisms, like forums like RIPE NCC and MENOG. You see people come from all stakeholders, from government, private sector, technical community, academia, and all this, and they all engage together in discussions and develop policies and all this. And this is, in a sense, how ICANN works, how Internet Society works, or any of the RIRs, including RIPE NCC works. So we're trying, as part of this strategy, also to promote this model at regional and national level. And we'll, give you a few examples about this. So they started, the working group started to look into each of those, strategic goals, and then identified strategic areas to work on and try to identify, projects and initiatives in each area. And in each area, they identified who the stakeholders are, what, the current status, how the current status looked like, objectives, recommendations, actions, and matrix, how we're going to measure, the implementation of this strategy. And as I said, the focus areas are one is the DNS security and stability, and this is more about, sort of capacity building sort of thing, like, they identified that there is need for more capacity building and awareness in areas related to DNS operations and DNS security, domain name industry, and the third one is the internet governance ecosystem. In the strategy, if you go through the different strategic areas, you would see that for each area there are a number of recommendations and then a number of specific actions. This is what we need to do. And for each action, there is a timeline. Okay, we're going to do this in year 1, this in year 2, this in year 3. And without going into details, this was more or less the methodology the group has worked with. So this, all the actions that were identified for each strategic area. And then, strategy was completed, posted. We had comments from, the public. We modified the thing, and then we updated the document, posted it again, and it was finalized, around May this year. And then the next step was to work on the implementation plan of the first year. Now, okay, the strategy for 3 years is there. Now we want to see what we're going to implement during the first year. And this is a snapshot of the kind of activities the group wanted ICANN to undertake in the first year. So in relation to the DNS industry, there was a suggestion to organize what is called DNS Forum, and this is like a 2-day event or maybe 2.5-day event on more on the business side of the DNS thing, not on the technical side. More on, the opportunities for businesses in the region. More on, we have registrars, companies that register domain names. We have 5 of them in the Middle East, including KuwaitNet, by the way. KuwaitNet is one of the very few ICANN accredited registrars in the region. So registrars, have come to us saying, look, the domain name industry is not only about how to create or establish or accredit more registrars. It's also about the existing registrars and what challenges are facing them and how ICANN can work with them to, address those challenges and try to help them. So this is a kind of, DNS Forum is one activity that we're planning for this year, probably before end of 2013 or beginning of 2014. And we're working closely with the Internet Society on organizing this forum. We had one in Durban in South Africa in July, and we're planning one for the Middle East soon. One other thing is in relation to IDNs and this is a task force that was launched very recently, and this task force is an open task force. It's an open group that is going to look into some of the issues I touched upon in my previous talk about like variants and issues like this. So this is a task force only for the Arabic script, and it's going to work closely with the IDN team within ICANN to address the issues, the IDN issues in relation to the Arabic script. On DNS and on the more on the technical side, on the capacity building side, the group also identified IPv6 and DNSSEC as two areas where more capacity building is needed and all this. And this is typically an area we we're working with, again, folks like ISOC and the RIRs, particularly for the Middle East, RIPE NCC, and also for North Africa, AFRINIC, on how we could, as ICANN and RIRs and ISOC, how we could join forces together and either as part of MENOG or some other forest to organize training workshops on these topics. One other activity that ICANN has been doing in the past couple of years, and there is more requests coming to ICANN, is the LRoot. ICANN manages one of the root servers, the LRoot, and we've been deploying instances of the root servers with, ISP networks and IXPs in different regions around the world. So again, this is something, the working group thought that, okay, we need to see more LRoot servers in the Middle East. We already have a few in countries like Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Lebanon, Turkey. And this is a straightforward process. I mean, if an ISP is willing to deploy, it's one server that the ISP needs to put on their network. If they're willing to do that, then we can work together and get this LRoot instance up and running. On the more on the internet governance side, and in trying to promote the multi-stakeholder model, again, there is a newly born forum in the Middle East or in the Arab world called the Arab IGF. This is the Arab Internet Governance Forum. The first meeting of the Arab IGF was held here in Kuwait last year in 2012. And the second meeting is taking place next week in Algeria. And this is a multi-stakeholder forum. This is the kind of forum we're trying to encourage more people and stakeholders to come and participate in, to discuss different and various issues in relation to internet and internet policies. We're trying to do more capacity building, again, in cooperation with other stakeholders in internet governance. So next week in Algeria, we're together with RIPE NCC and ISOC and others who are organizing one-day capacity building on internet governance at the Arab IGF. So just to wrap up, so right now, the kind of activities that are taking place, or at least in the planning phase, is the IDN task force. And as said, this is an open task force. If anyone wants to participate, you can send us an email to this address. It covers a range of languages that use the Arabic script, including Arabic, Farsi, Kurdish, and others. And right now, we have like 12 or less than 15 members in this task force, and they're not covering all the languages. And the challenge is to reach out to people in countries like in Africa, in parts of Asia that use the Arabic script. I mean, we have Arabic, Farsi, Urdu, Sindhi, I think Malay as well. I mean, they're all covered, but then few others are not covered yet. So this is an open call for whoever is interested to join this work. On the capacity building part, we think that MENOG and also maybe other forums would be an excellent, partner to work with on making more progress in capacity building, and particularly in areas like DNS and IPv6 that were identified by the group. DNS forum, as I said, it's another event that's coming up, and probably once we have more details, the group is still discussing the agenda, what kind of topics they want to discuss. We're also searching for a local host, and once we have more details, I'm going to share them with you. All the documents, like the strategy, the implementation plan, all the feedback that has been received are posted online. You can also post comments online, and you can also send us comments to this misweg@icann.org. So that was quick. I have a flight to catch in 15 minutes, probably. I need to be at the airport. So if there are any questions, I can take them right now. Thank you.
No questions? Okay, that was simple. Thanks very much, Baher.